Third time I'm trying to make this video. It's been very difficult, and it's just one to share when you self-reflect and you're able to realize that you're for once in your life able to fill your own cup. My whole life I've been spread super thin, just caring for the people around me. I've helped a lot, starting with people that weren't my family, homeless. I've fed many homeless that were hungry. They devoured the food before I could drive away hungry. Women that were leaving abusive situations. There's two different times that one I actually gave physical money to so she could get a hotel room. She had a baby, and so that way she could have shelter for her baby. Another woman was leaving a domestic violence situation. She also had a child, and I was going to bring them pillows and blankets just to rest their head until they got to safety. When it came to my own kids, I made sure I gave them everything that they needed, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I went out of my way to make sure I participated in things. When I went through a divorce with their father, I never put them in the middle of it. I never made them to choose. I never talked poorly. I did educate them, but I never talked poorly. There's times that my kids needed stuff, and I purchased it for them to take to their dads, and I never made anybody feel any way about it. I didn't put my kids through it. It's something they needed, and even though it wasn't my own home, I still made sure they had it at their father's. My nephews and my nieces, my nephew used to eat at my house every single night. I would take him to football practice. My nieces, I was a single mom for a long time, and I had to work a split shift in order to take care of my kids, make sure they got to school and back. And so I would take them to school, work 4 hours, pick them up from school, take them to my sister-in-law to watch, and then work another 4 hours so I could get 8 hours in, even though it took me all day. But that way my kids had what they needed, and I didn't have to worry about depending on another person. I knew they had what they needed, and I was able to get them to school and back. On top of it, I watched my nieces, and so in that meantime I would watch them while watching my kids, and I never charged my sister. It was just something I did for the kids because I loved them, and she helped me many of times too, which she never charged me either, so it helped. But Valentine's Day, I used to take Valentine's up to all the schools, my kids, my nephews, my nieces, and put Valentine's Day at the office and have them be called up to the office so they felt like they had a Valentine's. When my dad was sick, I was going through a divorce at the time with the kids' dad, and I was his caretaker because he was dying. He was not in good health. My grandmother, I also took care of her at the same time. We all lived in the same home, and I made sure she had what she needed until I was kind of at a breaking point, trying to work full-time, trying to raise 2 kids, and then be a caretaker for my mother and my grandmother and my father, which it was hard, but when I couldn't do it, he went to go stay with my sister, and I still would make food and take it to her house to make sure he had what he needed. Slippers, cups he could hold because he didn't have a lot of strength. things like that. My mom, I've given her a place to live at times that she's needed. I've bought her $1,200 eyeglasses and had them take payments out of my check, even as a single mom, so that way she could have good vision. There's just so much that I have done. I stepped up for my stepson. He was in an abusive situation and unsafe, and so I stepped up and I went through a lot of obstacles in order to get him in my home legally and safely. I have no regrets. I have had a beautiful life, even though it's been incredibly difficult, because I've just spread myself thin for so many, and again, no regrets. I am so grateful I've got to be there for them all. But I'm at a point in my life where I now can fill my own cup for the first time in my life, and I've been able to build like a little tiny home. I call it a studio. It's something I can run my business out of, but also live in. And within the next year, I should be able to save enough to buy a couple acres of land. And so I've been able to, I was looking at realtors today, and because it's not just a want to, like, it's actually happening. And I got really emotional because of all this time in my life that I've gave and spread myself thin to the point of exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, to help, to take care of, to provide, to do what I need to for so many with no regrets. I finally get to fill my own cup. And Dexter, my fur baby that I rescued about 6 months ago, and so I built us a little tiny home. I call it a studio, and I'm gonna buy some land, but it just really kind of made me emotional and made it difficult to even make this video, because I want people to know that they can fill their own cup, and when you're able to put yourself first for once, it is so different. It is so out of this world different, and it's almost hard to understand how it feels for once to be able to fill your own cup and not have to be that caretaker and that provider for so many different people in different ways. And I will continue, because that's just where my heart is, but I'm going to take a little time to fill my own cup. And while I was trying to look for realtors so I can start looking for land, it made me kind of emotional when I kind of realized with the self-reflection that I finally get to fill my own cup in my life. And it's very rewarding, but it's almost unreal. And I'm grateful. I'm truly grateful. And I, for once, am putting myself first. And not because I wouldn't do it for them before, but I'm able to now.